3 years in the Air Force and the whole internet calls me a fishing god. All because other people use bait to fish. I just straight up risk my life to catch something. Instead of fish, I pull up suitcases full of human remains. Or sometimes bombs. I even managed to snag a nuclear submarine with a spear once. And I caught the boss's illegal net he was using to cheat. Sent the boss straight to jail with room and board included. Basically, I haven't caught a single fish. But I filled up the police station jail cells. The cops are all having a meltdown. Dude, I'm begging you. Can we just not fish? Now, at the Clear River in the suburbs, the afternoon sun is as harsh as a wicked stepmother, baking me until I'm sweating all over. But the bobber on the water isn't moving an inch. Just when I'm about to get heat stroke, the bobber sends out a ripple. I'm overjoyed. I grab the rod with both hands and yank it upwards. But the rod doesn't budge. A huge, strange force comes through the rod. I almost get pulled into the river. Holy crap, a big one. Definitely a big one. A few other fishermen who were dozing off nearby heard the commotion and came over. Not bad, kid. The way that rod's bent, it's gotta be at least 70 or 80 pounds. Hold steady, hold steady. Don't let it run. Give it some line. Listening to the other fishermen cheer me on, I'm feeling energized. The huge thing under the water slowly rises to the surface. I don't know if it's a 100-pound grass carp or a meter-long coulter. Under everyone's expectant eyes, a dark shadow slowly appears, but it's not the streamlined body of a fish. It's a bulging, green snakeskin bag. Maybe it's been soaking in the water for too long. It's covered in seaweed and mud, looking like a big hairy ball. The surrounding people all shake their heads and sigh in disappointment. Ah, what a shame. How'd you just pull up a bag of trash? My mood plummets from cloud 9 to rock bottom. Disappointedly, I hauled the woven bag ashore. Instantly, an indescribable stench filled the air. It also had a sickeningly sweet smell. A fellow fisherman next to me couldn't take it. He immediately started dry heaving. I pinched my nose and squatted down to get the fishhook. But the moment I squatted down, my pupils dilated. I saw a toe with red nail polish. It was exposed through the hole torn by the fishhook. In an instant, my mind went blank. I sat on the ground, unable to move. An old man next to me saw this. He excitedly came over. Oh, is there treasure? Let me see too. But the next second, the old man stopped talking abruptly. A shrill scream pierced the riverside. Ugh, 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 human parts. More than 20 minutes later, red and blue police lights illuminated the wild river. 2 cops were standing on either side of me. Even though I wasn't wearing handcuffs, the way they were treating me was no different from a suspect. The veteran officer was named Wang Jiangwo. He was the captain of the city's criminal investigation team. His eyes were like an eagle's. One glance was enough to make people shiver involuntarily. Sure, Baoyuan. I just wanted to have some fish soup. Who knew I'd pull up this thing? Wang Jiangwo glanced at my empty fish basket. He pointed to the woven bag on the ground and said, fish soup. Looks like that's not happening today. Come back to the station for some tea. Oh, in the interrogation room, I held a disposable paper cup. I was totally dazed. Wang Jiangwo sat across from me. He was looking through the file in his hand with a serious expression. After forensic examination, the stuff in the woven bag is indeed human remains. But the tissue has completely decomposed naturally. Only the finger bones and surface fat are left. It's estimated the person was killed at least 2 years ago. It certainly has nothing to do with the young man in front of me. Wang Jiangwo's tone softened slightly. Alright, knock it off. After our investigation, you really are one unlucky fisherman. You're free to go. Still want that fish soup? My face went white. I waved my hands saying I'm done fishing. Never fishing again in this lifetime. After completing all the formalities, I walked out of the police station with my fishing gear, but I still felt that sweet, fishy smell in my nose. I looked at the fishing gear in my hand. I was ready to let it dry out and ditch it, but I never expected that the moment I opened the trash can lid, I suddenly heard a ding in my head. Detecting host's bad luck index exceeding limits. Fishing heat map system has been bound to you. Successfully casting your line will earn you points. Each point can be exchanged for $100. Newbie bonus, 500 points. The movement of my hand immediately stopped. 1 point equals $100. Wouldn't 500 points be $50,000? The fear in my mind instantly vanished. Fishing can make you rich. The ancients weren't lying. I looked at the time. There were still 3 hours before dark. Then I said silently in my heart, open system. Instantly, a semi-transparent blue map appeared before my eyes. It was a water map of Linjiang City. I saw a red light flashing in an area 500 meters downstream from the scene. I gritted my teeth, turned around and grabbed a shared bike, heading straight for the Qingshui River. Screw bad luck. In the face of $50,000, even if Sadako crawled out, I'd shove her back in. Soon I returned to the Qingshui River. The original fishing spot was already surrounded by long police tape. Some technical team guys were still there, salvaging for evidence. According to the location specified by the system's heat map, I went downstream, found a flat spot and rebaited my hook, adjusted my float, and cast my line. Sure enough, less than 10 minutes after the rod hit the water, the float showed movement. First it twitched a couple times, then slowly sank little by little. This is a typical rising float action. That's textbook bobber down action right there. My heart leaped with joy. 9 times out of 10, that kind of bobber action means a wild slap-sided crappie. I held my breath, focused, waiting for the perfect moment. Then I yanked the rod hard, but the line just went heavy. That familiar heart attack heavy feeling. Wiped the smile right off my face. Then, real careful, I started reeling it in, slowly bringing whatever it was closer. It was some kind of weird shaped thing. No burlap sack or anything. Just some scraps of ripped up cloth, wrapped around a piece of bone, white as hell with a clear joint. Looked like a femur, a damn thigh bone. But the break, the jagged end, wasn't natural. The hope I was clinging to just died. A cold chill went straight from my heels to the top of my head. What the hell? Did I just snag a people meat grinder? I pulled out my phone, stiff as a board. Detective Wang? You still on the clock? Sorry to bother you again, but I got another one. Wang Jiangwo rushed back to the scene. The look in my eyes was 70% shock, 30% suspicion. Buddy, you gotta tell me the truth. Were you a grave robber in a past life? Or did you learn some kind of geomancy skill? Captain Wang, I'm telling you, I just wanted to catch a fish and have a decent meal. You believe me? Wang Jiangwo rolled his eyes. Clearly he did. Then he stared intently at the bones before him. The previous finger bone. After analysis, the DNA perfectly matches a sensational unsolved case from 2 years ago. And this leg bone in front of us is very likely from the same person. I investigated that case back then. Although we identified a suspect, we never found the victim's body, so the case has been dragging on. Who would have thought? The crucial evidence would be fished up like this? That's something. Hey man, you pretty much did your civic duty. Once we crack this case, we're putting you in for that Good Samaritan reward right away. 3 days later, in the Linjiang City Criminal Investigation Team's conference hall, I stood on the stage as a meritorious citizen, wearing a big red flower on my chest, and holding a banner personally prepared by Wang Jiangwo, Good Samaritan, Scourge of Evil. Wang Jiangwo stood to the side, holding a microphone, speaking passionately. In light of Comrade Shin Mo's outstanding contribution to this major case, the City Bureau has decided to award him the title of Model Citizen, and a bonus of 50,000 yuan. Hearing the words, 50,000 yuan, my previously dim eyes instantly lit up. You hear? This trip wasn't for nothing. Finally got some substance. After the ceremony, I had just walked out the front door, when Wang Jiangwo chased after me. Hold up a sec. The case is closed. May the departed rest in peace. You've done a great deed. And another thing, if you happen to fish up anything else good, don't bother calling 911. Just call my personal cell. Captain Wang, can't you wish me well for once? I just want to be a simple fisherman. Alright. Wish you strike it rich soon. After saying goodbye to Wang Jiangwo, I went straight home. I glanced at the fishing gear bag in the corner, and a thought occurred to me. Work. If you want to do a good job, you must first sharpen your tools. I figured the reason I keep catching those kinds of things is definitely because my rod isn't good enough. Can't suppress the evil spirits. So, I spent a fortune, tens of thousands, and bought a limited edition Daiwa Wavelong hand pole. I also bought top-of-the-line imported fishing line and master-level floats. And I even specially replaced the handle with a peach wood one to ward off evil. With this set of divine weapons, there's no way I can't catch a fish. The next day I woke up. The new fishing gear I bought had already been delivered to my door. I opened the fishing heat map system. The water area map of Linjiang City had been updated. There were no red dots on the previous Clearwater River. Instead, there was a deep red light spot at Ghost Cry Pool, 30 kilometers away from Linjiang City. There was a deep red light spot, quietly lurking at the bottom of the water. Such a remote place, and I'm all alone. What if something really happens? I thought about it. I took out my old phone from the drawer, downloaded a live streaming app. Who cares about the compensation? Besides, netizens are more reliable than friends. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I took a cab to the mountains in front of Ghost Cry Pool. The driver glanced at the destination on the navigation, and then glanced at my gear, hesitated for a moment, and said, "Young man, you're gonna Ghost Cry Pool? I heard that place is not so clean. People fall down there mysteriously every year. Besides, you can hear crying at night. You should go quickly. Come back early." After speaking, the driver stepped on the gas and sped away as if he were escaping. That bastard had to say that. Isn't that deliberately scaring people? I touched the $1,000 Ripple Dragon on my back, and mustered up some courage. I've even fished up human remains. What's there to be afraid of? Then I carried the big and small bags and walked along the path for more than 10 minutes. Finally arrived at the location marked with a red dot on the system. This is a typical mountain barrier lake. The water in the pool shows a palpitating dark green color. It does look a bit scary. I swallowed, found a relatively flat pile of rocks, put down my bag, and started fiddling with my live streaming equipment. Because it's a new account, the live broadcast room is deserted. I'm not in a hurry, skillfully preparing the bait and adjusting the float, picking up the spoon specifically for ground baiting, throwing corn kernels in scoop after scoop, then picking up the fishing rod and casting it forcefully. The bait landed precisely above the glowing spot. Time passed minute by minute. The sun began to set. The light in the valley dimmed. The number of people in the live stream actually increased slightly. It rose to over 50 people. To be honest, I wanted to leave too. Sitting there, I kept feeling a chill down my back. But the red dot the system showed was right here, and it was still shaking slightly. It's definitely alive. Don't be impatient, guys. Big fish only bite at night. No sooner had those words left my mouth, the float on the water suddenly trembled violently. Here I go, screaming with excitement. Brothers, did you see that? It's biting. Having said that, my body instinctively reacted. I raised the rod to set the hook. There was a loud bang. The sound of the fishing line slicing through the water was extremely loud, even carrying a metallic, vibrating sound. The wave pattern dragon rod in my hand instantly bent into a full arc. An indescribable force came from the rod tip. I stumbled forward, almost falling headfirst into the pool. The live stream instantly exploded, but at this moment I couldn't care less about the comments. I held onto the fishing rod tightly with both hands, pressing the end of the rod against my lower abdomen, my face turning liver-colored. I roared, leaning back with the strength of my waist. What the hell is this thing? It's too heavy. It doesn't feel like a fish struggling at all. It's more like there's a water buffalo pulling me from under the water. The surface of the water began to churn. A lot of bubbles came out. The number of people in the live stream started to skyrocket because of this intense fight scene. There's no freaking way this is a fish, even if it's a grass carp. Be careful I don't reel up the Dragon King. If I can pull this up, I'll do a handstand and eat shit on live stream. I gritted my teeth. Veins were popping out on my forehead. Luckily, the red dot on the system map was slowly approaching the shore. Finally, after a stalemate of nearly 10 minutes, the water broke. That wasn't a fish head, not the spine of some water monster, but a piece of gray, with a metallic sheen, an airplane wing. That's right, a wing, followed by a streamlined, gray object about a meter long floated to the surface. It looked like a mini fighter jet, but without a cockpit. There was also a propeller on the tail. I frowned. I was dumbfounded. Everyone in the live stream was confused too. What the heck is this? Then, under the gaze of hundreds of people in the live stream, I used all my strength to drag this heavy thing onto the pile of rocks. I plopped down on the ground, gasping for breath. Only then did I have a chance to take a closer look at this big guy. The paint on this thing was intact, although there was some seaweed wrapped around it. It clearly hadn't been submerged for long. The impact marks on the wings suggested it crashed and fell into the pool. The fuselage also had a black equipment box attached to its belly. The box had a seal on it, but the writing was blurry. It was no longer legible. In the live stream, the barrage of comments urging me to open the box was flying fast. I swallowed, hesitated for a long time. Finally, I gave a smile that was worse than crying. Brothers, I think we should trust the cops with this thing. It's only my first day of streaming. I don't want to go to jail. Let's just tell them. I took out my phone and dialed Wang Jiangwo's number. Wang Jiangwo of the Municipal Criminal Investigation Team had just finished his work and was about to lie down for a nap. But as soon as he lay down, the phone rang. He looked at the caller ID. Shinemo, the guy who found the corpse, jumped out of bed instantly. He answered the phone. After listening to my description, he immediately threw on his clothes and said, "Don't touch that box. Turn off the live stream. Just sit tight and wait for me right there. I'm bringing a team over immediately." 40 minutes later, the shrill wail of police sirens shattered the valley's tranquility. After parking the car on the roadside, Wang Jiangwo rushed in with a few young officers. When they saw lying on the rock-strewn bank that gray drone with a wingspan of over a meter, everyone gasped. Wang Jiangwo circled the drone, his expression grave. This is a Xiaohe T-series industrial frame that's been modified. The battery and motor have been enlarged, specifically designed for long-distance flights with heavy loads. First, seal off the scene. Wait for the technical team to arrive. Yes, understood. Wang Jiangwo was a devoted drone enthusiast. He recognized the model of this behemoth at a glance. The technical team comrades immediately stepped forward, carefully inspecting the black payload box. After confirming there were no explosives, they tore open the seal and opened the lid of the box. I craned my neck to take a look, and my eyes widened in disbelief. Technical team literally shook his head, squatted down, picked one up, and examined it. More expensive than gold. These are chips. Specifically, they're high-end chips that are heavily regulated on the market right now. This box is worth at least $1 million. It's probably smuggling. Wang Jiangwo frowned deeply. I've been hearing rumors lately that a smuggling ring is using drones to conduct cross-border flyline smuggling in the mountains. Never expected one to crash into Ghost Reservoir. And for someone to fish it up. Thinking of this, Wang Jiangwo turned back and glanced at me. This time, his gaze was 1/3 shock and 7/10 suspicion, like, you got contacts in the underworld or something? How come whenever there's a major case, you're always fishing around? Captain Wang, I swear to God, I really just wanted to catch a fish. Who knows what this piece of junk is doing in the water? To be honest, I'd rather it be a 100-pound giant black carp. Wang Jiangwo shook his head and sighed. He waved his hand at the others. All right, take the stuff back first. Shinemo, you come with us too. Gotcha. Just Captain Wang, can I sit in the front this time? The back seat of the police car is too hard. Wang Jiangwo rolled his eyes again. He clearly agreed. That night, even though my live stream was interrupted, the sliced-up video of me fishing up the drone went viral online like a virus. A day later, I became a celebrity in Linjiang City. Although classified details couldn't be made public, the announcement that a public-spirited citizen, a certain Shun, assisted the police in cracking a major smuggling case was still released. Plus, the dismemberment case had been on TV before. My account gained more than 50,000 followers overnight. The comment section was full of talent. Aha, adult movie director, what the heck? Of course, besides fame, the reward was more substantial, because the amount involved was huge, and it was an important clue. This time the bonus was 100,000 yuan higher than last time. I looked at the balance in my bank card, and couldn't stop smiling. At this time, the system prompt also arrived as scheduled. I exchanged it for a booster without hesitation. Flying that drone yesterday almost killed me from exhaustion. Health is wealth. I must strengthen myself. Instantly, a warm current flowed all over my body. Although this process made me fart a lot on the street, fortunately the result was satisfactory. Now I have money, and my body is great. It's time to enjoy life. I remembered last night in the livestream room, those comments mocking me for not being able to catch fish, and immediately decided to go to the flower and bird market to buy the biggest fish tank, and raise the most expensive fish, to wash away my shame. The flower, bird, fish, and insect market in Linjiang City isn't very big. I walked around for a while but couldn't find a fish tank that matched my 200,000 yuan net worth. Just as I was about to head home disappointed, the system map, which had been silent for a while, suddenly flashed. I subconsciously opened the map, and saw that less than 2 meters to my left, a small dot of light lit up, but this time it wasn't red, but a golden dot of light. There was no mention of a golden dot in the system's instructions. Could it be some kind of rare treasure? After all, gold looks expensive. I stopped in my tracks, and turned to look at the stall. It was a small stall selling turtles. There were a few broken plastic basins set out, crawling with turtles of various sizes. The stall owner was an honest-looking old man. My gaze locked onto a dirty-looking styrofoam box next to him, because the golden dot on the system map overlapped with that box. A palm-sized turtle was lying there all alone, covered in dried mud. It had 3 distinct black stripes on its back. The old man saw me looking at the turtle, and said, I picked this up in the countryside a couple of days ago. It's called a box turtle or something. If you want it, 100 bucks and the golden light the system marked is yours. Only 100 bucks? That's an absolute steal. I was overjoyed, and decisively bought it. Although I don't know what's special about this thing, the system is never wrong. Then I turned on my live stream as I walked. Brothers, let me show you something good. Just picked this up for 100 bucks. Tell me if it's worth it. Because of the morning's announcement, as soon as I went live, 3,000 people flooded into the stream. Haha, caught the Minister of Justice. How expensive is the Minister of Justice? Pulling more stunts, huh? Hold on. Streamer, that turtle doesn't look like a normal turtle. If I'm not mistaken, that should be a wild golden coin turtle. The wear and tear and growth rings on the shell are at least decades old. It's gotta be worth 6 figures, minimum. Wait a sec. Are wild golden coin turtles a Class 2 protected species? The Minister of Justice has some serious pull. The fishing master's ditching fishing to go shopping for antiques. Life's looking up. I'm looking at the barrage of comments on the screen. My hand involuntarily twitches. I almost dropped the turtle. This freaking system. I thought the gold color meant it was some kind of rare treasure. Turns out it just meant it was gold jewelry. I gritted my teeth and made a decision that went against my ancestors. I immediately and skillfully called Wang Jiangwo. The phone rang for a long time before he answered. Shinemo, are you my nemesis? What the heck? I only get 1 day off a month. What did you catch this time? An aircraft carrier? Captain Wang? This time I didn't catch it. I bought it. I bought a turtle at the flower and bird market. The netizens are saying it's a Class 2 protected animal. Wang Jiangwo took a deep breath on the other end of the line, and grinding his molars, said, Don't move. Keep an eye on that stall for me. I'll send some nearby officers over right away. Okay. 10 minutes later, I was in a police car again. The poor old turtle was also taken away for allegedly selling endangered wildlife. Was taken away. I got a serious lesson in endangered species protection. That priceless golden coin turtle was personally taken over by the Forestry Bureau experts who arrived. After all that hassle, by the time I walked out of the Public Security Bureau, it was almost dark. This day was more tiring than fishing. What golden glow. Didn't earn a single penny, and I lost $100. Just as I was getting ready to wash up and go to bed, the system notification suddenly sounded, like music to my ears. I sat up abruptly in bed. Fish affinity. Lower your guard. Isn't that just a noob aura? I can finally catch live fish. I looked at the texture dragon fishing rod in the corner. The fire in my eyes burned again. With this skill, not going after the big boys to fleece the boss would be a real shame. When the first ray of morning sun climbed into the windowsill, I couldn't wait to get up and wash. Grabbed my gear and got ready to pull off a big score. 8 a.m. I arrived in the northern suburbs of Linjiang City, the infamous Osaka Key Paradise Old Wang fishing spot. This used to be an abandoned kiln. Later it was contracted by a bald boss named Zhang Dafu, and turned into a fishing spot. There were already a lot of anglers sitting by the pit. The scene was quite spectacular. I carried my tackle bag. Just walked in the door. Zhang Dafu greeted me. Oh, isn't this the big celebrity of our Linjiang City? Minister of Justice. Are you here on a secret mission today or to buy supplies? Said, blowing out a smoke ring, with a bit of teasing in his eyes. Continued, but ugly. Let me say this up front. There are only fish in my pit, but not the kind of performance you're looking for. Several regulars around laughed. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. You're joking, Boss Zhang. I'm a serious fisherman. How much is it today? Zhang Dafu stretched out 5 carrot-like fingers. Big boy's pit. Mainly big board crabs. Mixed grass carp. Carp, 500 for 4 hours. Recycling fish is $4 a pound, 500. Are these fish raised on gold bars? Zhang Dafu scoffed, pointed to the fish pond behind him. If you think it's too expensive, go to the free wild river. You can still catch. What about Chan Yen's teacher? I just released 2,000 pounds of Project Crucian carp in this pit yesterday. Every single one weighs over a pound. As long as you've got the skill, I'll even take the worst spot and equipment. I'm fired up now too. A typical black pit, fishing hole, is only 200 or 300. That Zhang is truly dirty and black-hearted. I'm gonna teach him a lesson he won't forget today. I immediately pulled out 5 big bills. 500 it is, then. But if I really kill it, don't come crying to me. Zhang Dafu acted like he'd heard the funniest joke ever. He pointed at the other customers and said, if you can catch 50 pounds today, the $500, I'll give it back. And if you don't, I'll eat this fish net right here on the spot. I'll take you out to eat. Everyone here is a witness. The other fishermen around started clapping and cheering. I didn't say another word. I found a spot, sat down, and immediately started my live stream. Alright guys, let's get to work. People started joining the stream one by one. I expertly started adjusting my float, finding the bottom and baiting the spot. Even though I haven't caught many fish these past few years, this whole process is something I know like the back of my hand. Plus, with this cheat today, catching a fish is gonna be a piece of cake. I hook on the carefully adjusted bloodworm bait, and confidently cast out my first float of the day. It stands steadily in the water, showing 2 eyes. I hold my rod, daring to hold my breath and concentrate. 1 minute passes. 5 minutes pass. Half an hour passes too. But the float is as still as a rock. That shouldn't be happening. Looking at the system's heat map, I clearly see a whole bunch of white dots gathered in the spot. But these fish are just circling the hook, and won't open their mouths. That's really weird. Sitting in the toll booth, enjoying the air conditioning, Zhang Dafu watches the monitor. A cold smirk appears on his lips. You idiot, I just dumped half a ton of fertilizer in here yesterday. Lowered the oxygen level in the water. The fish are all suffocating. Who the hell cares about your bait when there's a floater? As every second ticked by, I started sweating on my forehead. I can't shoot myself in the foot today, can I? The mood in the livestream room started to change too. Is the streamer gonna deliver or what? It's been so long. Not a single bite. Your Honor, I think we should call the cops about this fishy situation. Kinda feels like fraud. Seeing this, I started to lose face, took a deep breath, and mentally chanted, System skills, full power. Junior torpedo river clear, activate now. As soon as I thought about it, an invisible wave spread out from me underwater. The next second, a miracle happened. Those white dots lazily circling on the heat map started to get agitated, eagerly swarming toward my fishing spot. The originally calm water suddenly churned like it was boiling. My eyes lit up. I tightened my grip on the fishing rod and shouted at the livestream. Here they come. Alright bros, watch this. The fish are in the hole. The viewers in the livestream also saw the change in the water. Holy crap, what's going on? Why is the water suddenly going wild? Is this about to be a total score? However, things seem to be developing a little beyond what I expected. The fish definitely came, but they didn't seem to be here for the bait. It was like they were obsessed fans seeing their idol, desperately rubbing against my float, running along the fishing line. Some of the fish even jumped out of the water, trying to rush onto the shore. Thump, a bream weighing over 2 pounds jumped at my feet, floundering wildly on the muddy ground. Its mouth opened and closed, as if it were shouting, "Bro, I love you." I froze in place. In the live stream, all the netizens were dumbfounded. What kind of sorcery is this in the bait shop? Yo, streamer, did you dump something in the water? What the hell? How come these fish are suddenly going crazy? Is this the legendary fishpocalypse or something? Zhang Dafu's face changed. He was so scared he dropped his sunflower seeds. He's been running fishing holes for years. He's seen guys with skills. He's seen total noobs. But he's never seen fish jump out of the water on their own like that. At that moment, I wasn't exactly feeling happy. Instead, I was covered in a cold sweat. These fish were swirling all around me, but they just wouldn't take the bait. I tried to lift my rod, and only pulled up a fish scale. Damn it, why don't you just bite? What's the point of just rubbing against it? While I was scrambling to deal with this group of obsessed fans, out of the corner of my eye, I suddenly noticed, in the dense field of white dots, a familiar red dot lit up directly below me, and radiating from the red dot were rings of ripple-like light patterns, like sound waves. My heart skipped a beat. A red dot, another red dot. I knew this system was never going to let me fish in peace. But then I suddenly had an idea. I turned my head and shouted to Zhang Dafu in the distance. "Hey, Boss Zhang, is there something wrong with your fish? Why aren't they going to the bottom?" Zhang Dafu had walked up behind me by this point, not too far away. He was staring suspiciously at the fish in the pond. Hearing what I said, he stuck his neck out and said, "The weather's hot, the pressure's low. It's normal for the fish to be near the surface. Your technique sucks. Why are you blaming the fish? You just suck." I gave a cold chuckle, looking at that red dot at the bottom of the water, then turned to the camera and said with a smile, "All right, fellas. All right, boys. Since Boss Zhang says my technique sucks, let's try a different fishing method." Then I started changing the line right in front of everyone. I swapped it out for a heavy-duty 2.0 Dyneema line as thick as a shoelace, plus a treble hook. Even though the system's fish affinity cheat was a little off, I've never missed a red dot. Zhang Dafu watched me change the line. His eyelids were twitching like crazy. Whoa, 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 what are you doing? That's a treble hook. Who uses that kind of thing for fishing? I stood up and stretched my shoulders. My eyes locked onto the red dot underwater. Did I say I was gonna fish? Watch this. Then, like I was throwing a grenade, I aimed for the location of the red dot, and slammed the anchor hook down. Splash. The treble hook plunged straight into the bottom. I didn't jerk the rod right away. Instead, I used the system map to guide me as I gently dragged it along, feeling the contours of the terrain. A little bit more. Suddenly, I felt something hard. I knew that feeling all too well. I roared, "Get up here!" That shout startled all the other fishermen around. They all turned to look. I stood with my feet planted wide, hugging the rod, which was bent to its limit. I yanked the dragon fishing pole upwards. If setting the hook before was like playing the eru, this time it was like strumming a cotton gin. The sickening sound of the line slicing through the water echoed through the whole fishing spot. Whatever was down there was heavy as hell. I not only failed to pull it out, I almost stumbled and fell myself. Zhang Dafu secretly breathed a sigh of relief at the sight, then immediately started yelling, jumping up and down. "Hey, you're snagged. Definitely snagged. Shen. I'm telling you, if you break the line trying to pull it out, I'm not responsible." Hehehahaha. The people in the livestream were also shocked by this scene. The comments were flying. "Why does Shangshu look like he's pulling on a tug-of-war rope? This definitely gotta snap. Wait till you see the dry fry move. Could it be some kind of huge thing? The dry fry is moving, but not like it's trying to escape. It's more like a high-frequency, subtle vibration, like there's an electric motor vibrating underwater." I grit my teeth. Veins are popping out on my forehead. My body, modified by the basic physique enhancer, explodes with amazing power at this moment. "Come on up here." With a surge of muddy water, a dark, tangled mess of weeds and fishing nets, I wrenched the big guy from the bottom. Everyone saw a rectangular box like a black speaker, with a long, waterproof cable attached, stretching all the way to the other side of the pond. As soon as the thing from the management house came out of the water, that piercing, buzzing electrical sound and high-pitched hum became instantly clear. People standing on the shore felt a stabbing pain in their eardrums, and an inexplicable sense of irritation. The fish that had been surrounding me, the instant this thing came out of the water, seemed incredibly frightened, and scattered with a splash, slamming frantically against the shore. Some even flipped belly up. For a moment all the fishermen put down their rods, and stared blankly at the black box. An old fisherman took off his reading glasses, and squinted his eyes. What is that thing?" I sneered coldly, and threw the thing down at Zhang Dafu's feet with a clang. "Mr. Zhang, care to explain? This is what you meant by low air pressure? My skills weren't up to par?" Zhang Dafu's face turned pale. Instinctively he reached for the power cord, but I stepped on it. "Guys, if I'm not mistaken, this thing is called a high-frequency sonic fish attractor, commonly known as the electronic version of a kill-everything net." The fisherman at the scene realized what was happening, and instantly got angry. "What the F***? So that's why I, a retired Air Force guy, haven't been catching anything, you little punk. I know what this thing is. As soon as you turn it on, all the fish within 50 meters get brain damage. Forget about eating bait. They're lucky to survive." A dozen angry fishermen holding landing net frames surrounded Zhang Dafu. Zhang Dafu's legs were shaking. It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Bullshit. This is leftover from before, sorry. I accidentally flipped the switch. You're kidding me. The wiring on this thing is brand new. Refund. Just then, a rapid siren grew louder. I don't know who called the cops. The police car stopped and the door opened, revealing a familiar long leg. Stepped out. Wang Jiangwo was in plain clothes. He was also carrying a bag of steamed buns he just bought. Apparently he hadn't had breakfast yet, before being called over. Wang Jiangwo's gaze swept over the crowd, finally landing on me, finally taking a deep breath, rubbing his temples. "Shinemo, are you putting a tracker on me? When I'm not working, I just wanted to grab breakfast, and you pull this stunt. I pointed to the area on the ground, looking wronged. Captain Wong, I swear. You know I haven't caught a single fish these days. I came to the fish pond specifically today. Who knew I'd fish up this thing again? This owner is a scammer, right? 500 per person, that's a lot of money. I'm doing a public service. Wang Jiangwo, looking at the still buzzing cheating device, was amused. Although this kind of case isn't under the jurisdiction of their criminal investigation team, but since we ran into it, and it involves suspected large-scale fraud, we can't just ignore it. Wang Jiangwo waved his hand. Several officers behind him immediately stepped forward to restrain Zhang Dafu. The live stream erupted with excitement. The screen was filled with messages praising the authorities. Praise to Lord Shin, Minister of Justice. After dealing with the scene, Wang Jiangwo patted me on the shoulder and said, "Not bad, kid. Haven't seen you in 2 days, and you've expanded your business from criminal offenses to economic crimes." I glanced at my empty balance and said with a wry smile, "Wang, you're too kind. To be honest, I'd rather catch a big crab. Look, I got skunked again." Wang Jiangwo glanced at the fish basket, pointing to the fish still flopping around on the shore, and joked, "Hey, isn't there one right there?" I kicked the fish back into the river and shook my head, saying, "That doesn't count for a fisherman. Does picking it up count as catching it? Next time I'll definitely catch a fish." Afterward, Wang Jiangwo left with a police car, sirens blaring. The system interface in front of me also refreshed with a new message. Damn, this deal seems more cost-effective than actual fishing. Thinking of this, quickly shook my head and banished the dangerous thought from my mind. I'm a fisherman, not a bounty hunter. I can't forget my original intentions. I looked at the time. It was still early, so I picked up my empty fish basket and quickly changed locations. However, I didn't know that because of a wildly circulating photo, I had become a legend in the fishing circles of Linjiang City. The photo showed me holding my signature Baonu Dragon fishing rod, standing on a fish-attracting platform, with the sealed-off fish pond in the background, and police cars with flashing lights. The caption had only one line, but every word was like a knife. 1 p.m. I showed up at the entrance of the Happy Fishing Garden in the east of the city with my gear. Since old Zhang's fishing spot isn't legit, I'll go to a proper one. They say the owner of this place is a decent guy, has a good reputation in the fishing community. It's just too far from where I live. This is my first time here. I walked to the entrance, about to ask about the fees, but the gatekeeper's eyes widened, like he'd seen a ghost. He turned and ran into the garden. Boss, run. The Grim Reaper's here." I looked at the departing old man, completely bewildered. Less than half a minute later, the boss rushed out with 2 packs of cigarettes in his hand, shoving them into my arms without a word. "He good, oh boy. Boss, you can just relocate, it's fine." "Yeah, master. I'm just running a small business here. Please, cut me some slack. These 2 packs are on me. Can't you go fish somewhere else?" "It's not that, boss. I just purely want to catch some fish." Master Shin. "It's not that I won't let you fish. I'm just really afraid that if you cast your line, you might reel up my great-grandfather's remains. I can't handle that." The boss took out his phone and handed it to me, with a bitter smile on his face. 10 minutes later, I stood on the side of the road, holding 2 packs of cigarettes, totally messed up. This is a damn curse. All I want to do is fish quietly. How did I become public enemy number 1 in the fishing industry? Can't get into fishing spots, wild rivers. And it's all bad luck. Is fate really trying to screw over this Air Force guy? Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I took it out and looked. It was a voice message from my fishing buddy, Old Chun. "I heard you've been blacklisted by all the fishing spots in Linjiang. That's hilarious." I rolled my eyes. I angrily typed scram on my phone. Old Chun sent another voice message. "Don't get discouraged. If you can't get into the pharmaceutical factory, go to the reservoir. There are several large reservoirs in the counties below us, like Dragon King Reservoir, Blackwater Pond and stuff like that. It's a bit far, but the fish are big enough, and they're wild. Nobody cares." Did you hear that? My eyes lit up. Yeah. The reservoir is so big, and no boss is watching. I can fish however I want. But soon I found another problem. It's too far away. Taking a cab back and forth with a bunch of equipment every time isn't going to work. I looked at the balance in my phone. An idea grew wildly in my mind. I have to buy a car, definitely. Not only do I need to buy a car, but I also need to buy one that can carry a load and go fast. A fishing enthusiast's off-road vehicle. Thinking of this, my eyes were extremely firm. Screw those pay-to-fish ponds. I'm going to invade the big reservoirs. Initiate expedition mode. No sooner said than done. I went to the car dealership. Took me 10 minutes to choose a favorite off-roader. Then I floored the gas pedal and drove out of the dealership, leaving behind only exhaust fumes and stunned car dealership sales staff. Just then, I heard another ding in my head. Detected that the host has the first motor vehicle. Fishing heat map has been upgraded. Expedition mode activated. Map permissions. Current map scan radius expanded to 100 kilometers. Looking at the virtual map in front of me that had instantly expanded countless times, my heart was filled with pride. Now the reservoirs of the entire Linjiang city will be my kingdom. Dragon King Reservoir. Here I come. However, it was rush hour. The expressway leading out of Linjiang city was very congested. Suddenly, a deafening roar of an engine came from the right lane. I turned my head to look. Holy crap, it was a heavily modified Raptor F-150. The body was way taller than my car. It was even towing a small baseboat trailer. That setup has got to be worth at least 100 grand. At that moment, the driver's side window of the Raptor rolled down. A red-haired dude wearing sunglasses. One hand was resting outside the window, with a Richard Mille watch on his wrist. Just as I was checking out the redhead also saw me. I immediately took off my glasses, and with a freaked-out expression, shouted, "Holy shit! Hi official! Are you that Shinemo who always blanks on Teacher Chen streams?" Covered in sweat, I rolled down my window, and said unhappily, "I'm Shinemo, but I'm a fisherman." Hearing this, the redhead laughed like crazy. and pointed to the equipment in the back of my car, and laughed and said, I've watched 2 of your streams, and haven't seen one fish. Are you planning to deliver goods to the station again today? Why is this kid's mouth so mean? Just as I was about to roll up the window and leave, the redhead spoke again. My name is Zhao Duoyu, from the Linjiang Base Club. Everyone who fishes for bass knows me. Your Honor, let's have a contest today. Hearing this name, I tensed up. This person has quite the reputation in the Linjiang fishing circle. A rich second generation with a mine at home or something, known for not catching fish, but having all the top-of-the-line gear money can buy. Commonly known as a bad student, with lots of school supplies. Without thinking about it, I refused, saying forget it. I'm not interested. Don't be like that. I was just planning to go to Dragon King Reservoir. I heard there are some trophy class ASP there. Let's go have some fun together. If you win, I'll give you the brand new Shimano lure set in my car. It's worth over 30,000. I was about to raise the car window, but I paused. My Bound Wave Dragon is good, but it's a platform fishing rod. I've always wanted to try lure fishing, this high-end stuff. I've always wanted to try, but I couldn't bring myself to buy the gear. I looked at Zhao Duoyu and asked softly, then tell me what's the simplest way to compete. Whoever catches the heaviest single tail wins. Just whoever wins. If you lose, you just need to shout 3 times into the live stream. Lure fishing is the king. Platform fishing is just old man's gymnastics. I touched my nose. This rich second generation's insults are strong. I glanced at the system map. In the center of Dragon King Reservoir, 50 kilometers away, there's a huge bright spot flashing. Not red, nor white, but a blinding pure gold. And this classic is moving fast. The corners of my mouth curved up. I put on a friendly smile. Okay, I'll take this bet. But if you lose, don't cry for your mommy. We'll go to Dragon King Reservoir in an hour. We finally arrived at Dragon King Reservoir an hour later. This is one of Linjiang's largest water sources. The water area is vast. The afterglow of the setting sun scattered on the water surface, making it look like a painting. But I'm not in the mood to appreciate the scenery. Because at this moment, Zhao Duoyu is showing off like crazy on his inflatable lure boat that looks very expensive. Because at this moment, Zhao Duoyu is standing on his inflatable lure boat that looks very expensive, showing off like crazy. See this? This is called a bait casting reel. This is called long casting. And this is a fish finder. This is what you call technology changing lives. I stood on the muddy ground by the shore, silently took out my own Bound Wave Dragon fishing rod. The live streams of the two were already in PK mode. Zhao Duoyu is also a streamer. The heat exploded instantly when the two connected. Rich kid versus Minister of Justice. This match could go either way. Forget it. The minister has metaphysical powers on his side. He's definitely going to win. I'll bet a pack of spicy strips on it. I bet the minister will reel in a water ghost today. Soon, the two officially started their competition. I have to say, superpowers really are useful. Although Zhao Duoyu's technique is average, he chose a good spot. In the deep water structure zone, in less than 10 minutes, a small yellowtail catfish, weighing a little over a pound, was pulled out of the water. He's got one. Master Shin, how's it going on your side? Still playing with mud? Hearing Zhao Duoyu's taunts towards the camera, I turned a deaf ear. My eyes were glued to the system interface, to that golden dot swimming quickly in the center of the reservoir. After confirming it was a living thing, I said silently in my heart, System, activate beginner fish affinity. Then invisible waves spread out. But this time it didn't cause the massive all directions collision, like it did at the Black Pit. I reckon it's because the reservoir is too big, and the golden dot is at least 200 meters away from me. This beginner fish affinity is obviously not enough. Seeing that Zhao Duoyu caught another fish, I gritted my teeth and made a decision. I spent 100 points in the system shop, to exchange for a god-tier ground bait. Picking up the bait spoon, I used all my strength, to throw spoonful after spoonful of the ground bait into the deep water. Zhao Duoyu shook his head when he saw it. Isn't he stupid? Casting ground bait that far with platform fishing? Isn't that just feeding the fish? I ignored him, and continued to wait. 5 minutes later, that golden dot suddenly stopped. Then it suddenly reversed direction, and charged towards me rapidly. The speed was so fast, that it even left a golden trail. My heart pounded with excitement. The golden dots represent rare treasures. Something this big might just be the legendary 100 gold fish king. Just as I was pondering this, the golden dot had entered the waters 10 meters ahead of me. I cast my line without hesitation. Barely a second passed, when the float suddenly plunged downwards at a terrifying speed. Even the ripple dragon rod in my hand bent sharply downwards. The rod tip went straight into the water. A force 10 times more terrifying than when I lost my drone came up through the rod. I'm gonna haul it in, I roared, raising the rod with both hands. There was a loud snap. The specially made 5.0 Dyneema mainline emitted a mournful sound, as if it couldn't bear the strain. The water's surface exploded. A huge golden tail slapped the water in the sunset, creating a shower of spray. Zhao Duoyu and Jinda dropped their fishing rods, pointing at the churning water, uttering in surprise, "Holy crap, what the hell is that thing?" In the afterglow of the setting sun, the golden dragon's huge tail seemed to be plated with a holy light. Then it slapped the water hard, and submerged again. The surging waves almost capsized Zhao Duoyu's small boat. I held onto the fishing rod, feeling the terrifying force from underwater, my expression more pained than joyful. Looking at the blinding golden dot in front of me, the greed in my eyes reached its limit. Whether you're a dragon or a worm, since you took my bait, you're mine. I gotta haul it in one rod at a time. On the shore of Dragon King Reservoir, an epic battle between man and fish was about to begin. The live stream chat was about to explode. Everybody stand up. Time to witness a miracle. If Guangong's water slicing sound ain't from a monster, I'll eat **T. Minister Shangshu is mighty. Let the rich kids see what it means to make miracles with great power. But at this moment, I had no time to look at the chat. My arms felt like they were filled with lead, achy and sore, but the elation inside me erupted like a volcano. It's alive, definitely alive. Through the rod in my hands, I could clearly feel the struggle of whatever was underwater, while struggling to use the figure-8 reeling technique to diffuse the force from underwater. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Zhao Duoyu, you're done for. This has got to be at least 50 pounds. Those little white crappie of yours wouldn't even fill its teeth. Zhao Duiyu's face paled a bit, but he stubbornly said, don't get so happy. Too soon. Careful you don't snap your line and lose it. Before it's on the bank. Anything can happen. Humph, snap the line, isn't in my vocabulary. Having said those harsh words, I looked at the golden dot on the system map getting closer and closer. My eyes lit up. Another classic. And it's alive. This has got to be a legendary monster. Whether I can wash away the humiliation of being an old Air Force washout. It all depends on this one tug. Time passed second by second. After a good half hour of stalemate, I finally felt like the big guy underwater was running out of steam too. The struggling started to weaken. I found the right moment, and suddenly leaned back, straining my hands. I yelled, only to hear a whoosh sound. The water's surface suddenly exploded. A huge dark shadow was forcibly pulled out of the water. The first thing I saw was a flat and thick tail, followed by its wide, flat body. If you didn't look closely, it really looked like a piece of driftwood or a huge catfish. Zhao Duiyu exclaimed, holy crap, what a huge catfish. That head's gotta be the size of a wash basin. But the next second, Zhao Duiyu and everyone in the live stream were dumbfounded, because the big thing I dragged onto the shoal didn't flop around like a fish. It stretched out for short, thick legs with toes. It clumsily crawled twice on the shoal. That's right, crawled. Then it opened its ridiculously wide mouth and let out a spine-chilling howl. It sounded like a baby crying. I felt like I had been petrified, frozen in place, staring at this dark, slippery thing, with 4 legs, crying wah-wah. The elation that hadn't yet faded from my face shattered bit by bit, turning into a desperate feeling of wanting to cry but not daring to. Zhao Duiyu on the boat was so scared he almost fell into the water. He pointed at the thing, trembling, bro, aren't you going a little too far with this? What the hell is this water ghost? Or whatever it is. Did it become sentient? In the live stream, after a brief pause the comments exploded. What the hell is that thing? It looks like a giant salamander to me, but how can there be such a big giant salamander? Giant salamander my ass. That's a Chinese giant salamander, and a wild one at that big, at least 50 pounds. Putting everything else aside, that cry almost made me piss myself. I was about to have a breakdown at this point, looking at the big thing in front of me, innocently blinking its small eyes, and crying its eyes out. 10,000 grass mud horses galloped through my mind. All I wanted to do was catch a fish. The Chinese giant salamander on the ground seemed to sense my thoughts, cried even louder, its voice shrill and aggrieved. I was so scared I shuddered, and threw the fishing rod to the side. I raised both hands above my head and cried out, brothers, I swear, I was only trying to catch a smallmouth bass. This thing bit the hook itself. It's trying to scam me. Zhao Duiyu had also rowed the boat to the shore by now, but he didn't dare get out of the boat at all. From way over there, he looked at that huge salamander, his eyes full of awe. Oh gee, I'm impressed. I've been lure fishing for so many years. I've seen people catch spicy sticks. I've seen people catch birds, even turtles. But catching a nearly 50-pound salamander with a pole, that's a first. I concede this round. I looked at Zhao Duiyu's sincere face, and I was so anxious I could jump out of my skin. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and think of a solution. What are we gonna do with this thing? I don't want to go inside. My head is full of Wang Jiangwo's words. He's gonna invite me back to the station for tea. I didn't just catch a giant creature. I clearly caught a one-way ticket to jail. Gonna be doing hard time. I rubbed my temples, squatting about 2 meters away from the giant salamander. My posture as humble as someone serving a postpartum empress. I wanted to remove the hook but didn't dare to touch it. Not only is this thing's bite force amazing, but more importantly, I'm afraid of accidentally hurting it. I couldn't afford to pay for that, even if I sold my underwear. The salamander lay on the muddy ground, his short, stubby legs, occasionally twitching a couple of times, and it cried out a couple of times. It made my heart skip a beat. Granddaddy, please stop crying. If you keep crying, you'll attract wolves. Or worse, you'll attract the cops. The words were only halfway out when I suddenly stopped. I looked back at the phone still broadcasting. Resigned, I dialed the police emergency number. Hey officer, I need some help. Can you transfer me to the Forestry Bureau or the Animal Protection Center? I fished up another protected animal. The operator on the other end of the line paused for a moment, then tentatively asked, are you Mr. Shin Mo, the Minister of Justice? I rubbed my forehead. Lines of frustration flashed across my face. I nodded, resigned to my fate. Yes, that's me. I'm at Dragon King Reservoir right now. I caught a wild fish weighing almost 50 pounds. It's a Chinese giant salamander, alive and crying. Please come quickly. I'm afraid it'll get dehydrated. I hung up the phone. I felt completely drained. Then I saw Zhao Duiyu next to me, watering the salamander with a water bottle, clicking his tongue in amazement as he watered it. Brother Mo, how did this thing get so big? You couldn't stew this in one pot. You'd need to. I was so scared that I quickly ran over and covered Zhao Duiyu's mouth. If you want to go to jail, don't drag me down with you. This thing's, every pound of meat is a prison sentence. Stewing this in one pot would be enough to eat cabbage and pork for the rest of your life in prison. The netizens watching the live stream, never once to shy away from a bit of chaos, were already laughing like crazy. Zhao is such an outlaw. If he were to stew this into soup, he'd be singing tears behind bars. Captain Wang is 5 seconds away from the battlefield. Speak of the devil. And my phone rang again. The caller ID showed Wang Jiangwo, the guarantor. I answered the phone with a tremble, and heard Wang Jiangwo's playful voice. Well, Shinemo. I was just working overtime eating instant noodles, when dispatch told me, you're causing trouble again. What's this I hear about you not catching? An old teacher but a crying child? My face was a picture of wanting to cry but not being able to. I defended myself. Captain Wang, don't tease me. I really didn't mean to catch it. He came for the bait himself. I'm being framed, alright? Just stop yelling. Old Lou from the Forestry Bureau has already left with his team. I'm gonna go watch the excitement too. You stay put. Take care of that thing. I nodded, hung up the phone. 40 minutes later, several pickup trucks with forestry security, printed on them, bounced along the rough mountain road. the headlights cut through the night, and also lit up my face, devoid of the will to live. Wang Jiangwo really did come along. The first thing he did when he got out of the car was walk up to me, patted me on the shoulder, then he couldn't help himself, and burst out, laughing. Seeing the resentment on my face, he quickly said, "Sorry, it's just that the scene is too beautiful. You got so many fishermen here. How did you manage to hook him with just one cast?" Several experts in white coats had already gathered around, gently placing the giant salamander into a specialized tank. The leading expert, Old Lu, was so excited his beard was trembling. Prime quality, truly prime quality. This is definitely the biggest wild giant salamander ever discovered in our Linjiang city, and judging by its size, it's at least 50 or 60 years old. This is a little old-timer. After speaking, he turned around and grasped my hand tightly, his eyes full of gratitude. "Young man, thank you so much. This giant salamander is of immeasurable value to our research on the local aquatic ecosystem. You've done a great service." I forced an awkward smile, hesitated for a moment, and asked. His mouth was cut by the hook. "I don't know how serious it is. And can he go back to Dragon King Reservoir?" "Don't worry, the hook didn't hit anything vital. We'll disinfect it when we get back, and nurse it for a few days. Once it's healed, we'll bring him back." Hearing that, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. At that moment, Old Lu waved to the people behind him. The people behind him immediately responded, turned and went back to the car, taking out a banner that had been prepared long ago, and a red envelope. Old Lu took the things, and handed them to me. "This is a small token from the Forestry Bureau, a cash reward of 2,000. It's not much, but it's our respect. I hope Mr. Lin will continue to promote the style, and report the situation in time when encountering problems." I looked at the gold-lettered words, Internet Entertainment Envoy, and Ecological Guardian on the banner, and felt a burst of numbness. Afterwards, the experts carefully lifted the water tank onto the car. The divine beast that had been howling for a long time was finally taken away. Before leaving, seemed to look back at me, not knowing whether it was thanking me for not killing it, or mocking my Air Force luck. The scene finally quieted down. Zhao Duoyu opened the trunk of his Raptor, and took out an alloy box from it. Brother Meng honored his bet. "This is Shimano's latest spinning reel and lure rod. It adds up to 38,000, it's yours." I looked at the box Zhao Duoyu handed over, rubbed my hands, and didn't dare to take it. "Are you really giving it to me? Isn't this too valuable?" "Brother Mo, you have to accept it. I'm still counting on following you in the future. I don't ask for anything else. Next time if you catch any dragons, or phoenixes, let me touch them." I looked at the heavy top-notch lure equipment in my hand, and then looked at the empty fish basket next to me. In the end, I could only sigh to the sky. Alas, I just wanted to drink some fish soup. Why is it so difficult? On the way back, my mood can be described as painful and happy. Although today was thrilling, the harvest was plentiful. Got 2,000 points for nothing quick, plus a top-tier gear set worth over 30,000. And Zhao Duoyu calling me master non-stop. Even got me into a Linjiang lure fishing champion group. They even let me in. Let those small-town hicks have a look. But the painful part is, still skunked today. I muttered resentfully, as I drove. Damn system. I refuse to believe it. Next time I'll find a place where even ghosts don't go. I want to see what kind of tricks the system can pull. It was already past midnight when I got back to the apartment. After washing up, I lay on the sofa and activated the system. Caught a wild sleeper goby today, got 1,000 points. Now I have a total of 3,500 points. I opened the point store, wondering if there was a magic weapon that could break the skunk curse. But then I saw a new icon flickering with a faint glow in the Today's Special section. Ultimate Eye of Insight. Trial version costs 500 points. After one use, the user's eyes can clearly see everything within a 10-meter depth underwater, all lasting for 10 minutes. Looking at the function description on the system interface, I suddenly sat up from the sofa. Isn't this basically a wall hack? Before, fishing relied entirely on guessing. With this thing, can't I directly see what the fish are doing down there? Even if it's only for 10 minutes, it's enough to find the fish nest. I didn't hesitate to spend 500 points to redeem a trial opportunity. Next time I'll go to that Chendao Lake, which is said to be full of fish, where you can walk across the water. I refuse to believe that I can watch the fish take the hook and still end up catching a rotten teacher. I thought gleefully, and was about to turn off my phone and go to sleep, when a pop-up notification of a local news story caught my attention. Linjiang Express News. Recent heavy rains have caused upstream water levels to rise. Fishermen have discovered a large number of unidentified floating objects in the Duanhuan Bay waters downstream. According to rumors, this water was once the site where a merchant ship carrying government silver sank a century ago. Currently, many treasure hunting enthusiasts are heading to Broken Soul Bay to find the sunken silver. I hurriedly opened the expedition mode of the system map, and saw that the river channel of Broken Soul Bay had a red spot, faintly revealing a black aura. Flashing light spot, with several golden light spots densely distributed next to it. Red spot with gold spots. Red spot with gold spots. What does this mean? Could it be saying that danger is accompanied by opportunity? Old corpses along with riverbed treasures? I swallowed my saliva, very tempted, but reason told me that if I go, most likely, I'll meet Detective Wang again. After hesitating for a long time, I rubbed my chin and muttered to myself, should I try again? Anyway, I have the Eye of Insight. I can just take a look at what's underwater first. If it's an old corpse, I'll run. But if there's something good, I'll grab it. The next day I slept until noon, and drove off again. I drove for a full hour, arriving at Broken Soul Bay. The so-called Broken Soul Bay is where the river channel presents a huge U-shaped bend. The current is rapid, and reefs are dense. Because of the complex terrain, things washed down from upstream often get stranded here. It has been a good place to make a side hustle since ancient times. At this time, many cars were already parked on the riverbank, and dozens of people were holding long and short detectors, searching for treasure on the muddy beach like they were sweeping for mines. I found a high spot, parked the car, put on my equipment, and skillfully started the live broadcast. As soon as I started the broadcast, the popularity soared. First, greetings to the Lord Shangshu. Oh, isn't this Broken Soul Bay? I heard there are more river ghosts than fish here, what's up? I heard you can catch Silver Bros Master here. You gonna Death Knell Cove too? I'm on my way, save a spot for me. The last message came from Zhao Duoyu. As I walked forward, I casually agreed. Shouldering my gear, I avoided the crowd searching for treasure. I came alone to an eddy where the bay was deepest and the current was fastest, because this was the spot on the system map, where the purple, red, and gold dots overlapped. I stood on a rock on the bank, and glanced at the muddy, yellow, bottomless river below. In my mind, I chanted, activate ultimate insight. The next second, I felt a cool sensation in my eyes. The scene in front of me changed as well. The originally muddy and murky yellow water quickly became transparent and clear in my vision. It was as if it switched to 4K ultra-high definition. My line of sight pierced through the surface of the water, reaching straight to the bottom of the river. I couldn't help but blurt out a curse. The bottom of this river is practically a giant junkyard. Abandoned bicycles, rusty metal frames. There's even half a tractor wrecked down there. How the hell am I supposed to catch any fish in this crap? It's a graveyard for snagged lines. But quickly, my attention was drawn to a depression in the deepest part of the river bend. Beneath all that messy industrial waste were scattered many coin-sized round objects, giving off a faint golden light. Silver dollars? Actually silver dollars. Before I could even get excited, I saw a huge object beneath the silver dollars. The thing was oval-shaped, about 1 meter long, half buried in the silt. A thick, broken iron chain was wrapped around it, and those brightest silver dollars were hanging on that iron chain. At this moment in the system's thermal map view, this huge oval object was emitting a frightening purple-red light. I glanced at it. Only 5 minutes were left on the countdown. I had to get the hook accurately next to that big guy, before the X-ray vision disappeared, or directly hook onto that tangled iron chain. I quickly switched to that big, hairy hook that made me famous in the Black Pit competition. Hooking onto something from the heavens, aimed and cast. The sinker and line drew a beautiful arc in the air, landing precisely above the big one, slowly sinking. I held my breath, maneuvering the rod, guiding the grappling hook closer and closer to the iron chain wrapped around the silver ingot. Just as the hook snagged the chain, I heard a ding in my head. The ultimate insight vision had ended. Immediately, the world before me returned to its murky state, making me dizzy for a moment. But I didn't have time for that. I jerked my wrist hard. Instantly, I felt a heavy sensation in my hand, the feedback of metal colliding and locking tight. Got it. I was overjoyed. I gripped the rod with both hands and pulled upwards with all my might, but whatever was underwater didn't budge. It felt like I was trying to lift the entire earth. I frowned. This thing is way too heavy. I thought long and hard. An idea popped into my head. If I can't pull it, then I'll have to bring out the heavy artillery. Soon, everyone saw on the riverbank of Broken Soul Bay. An unusual tug-of-war was unfolding. Except one side of the tug-of-war was my brand new SUV, and the other side was an unknown giant object buried deep underwater. I took the electric winch out of the car, steel cable and nylon rope. Following the taut fishing line, I slid the nylon rope slip knot down, relying on the memory and feel from the X-ray vision. I looped it around a section of the iron ring on the big thing underwater. This series of actions stunned the netizens in the live stream. Holy crap, is the streamer playing a new kind of fishing game? What kind of fish needs a winch? I have a feeling that today's events won't be small. I didn't have time to look at the comments. I stood on the shore holding the winch's remote control. As I pressed the button, the winch motor emitted a struggling hum. The steel cable instantly tightened. The front of the SUV was pulled down slightly. Those treasure hunters nearby were also attracted by the commotion here, and gathered around to watch the spectacle. Kid, looks like you fished up a shipwreck. I reckon it's just driftwood. Lots of driftwood around here. Hope you didn't pull up a coffin. The crowd started chattering. Quite a few people even got their phones out to film. The water's really churning now. Lots of bubbles mixed with black sludge are coming up. A musty, fishy smell is spreading. With everyone watching, and a splash, the huge thing under the water finally revealed itself. First thing to come out was a rusty old iron chain, with some dark, but kind of glowy round lumps attached. Seeing that thing, my eyes lit up instantly. That silver right there. Then the big thing tangled in the chain, got dragged up onto the shallows by the winch. It was a huge oval hunk of iron, covered in rust. Didn't really look like a coffin, or a treasure chest, just a hunk of iron, with a raised metal ring on top. My hook, and the tow rope, were hooked right onto that metal ring. I stopped the winch, looking totally confused, and went over, to get a closer look. Something about it seemed familiar, like a giant capsule, or a massive propane tank. Some of the braver folks in the crowd came closer too. This metal's pretty thick, looks like a part from some kind of machine. Hey look, there's writing on it, looks like foreign writing. In the live stream, the comments that were all 666 suddenly got serious for a second. Then a red, bold comment with an exclamation point flashed across the screen like a lightning bolt. Don't touch that ring. Don't touch that ring. I was looking at the comment sent by someone called Military Fan Old Wong. I was wondering if it was real when another comment popped up. This is an unexploded aerial bomb from World War II. Judging by the shape, it looks like an aerial bomb or a magnetic mine. The ring you hooked is a trigger fuse. Don't look at it. Run now. If this thing goes off, you're going to heaven. I stiffly turned my head to look at the hunk of iron less than 2 meters in front of me. Suddenly, I heard a faint but extremely crisp clicking sound. I felt a chill shoot straight from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. My whole body froze instantly. The few people who were originally surrounding the hunk of iron also realized something was wrong at this moment. Is that thing going off, is it? I didn't hear anything. Seeing one of them about to hug the hunk of iron and put his ear to it, to listen for sounds, I used all my strength to shout from my chest, "Run! That's a bomb!" At the scene, everyone froze for a moment, then scattered like a disturbed hornet's nest. In the blink of an eye, everyone had dispersed. I wanted to run too, but I couldn't, because my fishing rod was still connected to the line. The line was connected to the car was connected to the rope, and the rope was tightly fastened to that hidden ring. The winch was already locked. If I let go of the rope at this time, I would definitely be sent flying straight to heaven in a dirt airplane. My legs were shaking, and I forced myself to calm down. Trembling, I dialed Wang Jiangwo's number. The phone was quickly answered. Wang Jiangwo's voice sounded tired. Shen Mengyao, what's up? I'm at a seminar discussing your special constitution. You didn't cause any trouble for me, did you? I looked at the big iron ball not far away, and said with a crying voice, Chief Wang, no one has died this time, but I might be sending off a wave of living people. I hauled up a bomb with my winch in Death Valley. The internet says it's an aerial bomb. I'm currently silent on the other end of a DD call. After a good 3 seconds, I heard a chair fall over, and Wang Jiangwo's blood-curdling scream. Everyone stop the meeting. Bomb disposal squad, SWAT team, helicopter, move out now. God damn it, you hold that winch and stand still. Don't move and breathe lightly. That's a 2,000-pound aerial bomb. If it blows, the whole river bend is gone. Yeah, I know. Not only can I not move now, I can't even fart. 10 minutes later, just as I felt like I was about to collapse, I finally heard the roar of propellers in the sky. A helicopter swooped in and circled over the river bend. The huge airflow blew the surrounding reeds every which way. I panicked immediately and shouted, "Don't come any closer. The wind is too strong. The truck's gonna move." The helicopter obviously realized the problem, too, and quickly gained altitude, landing on the distant road. Wang Jiangwo arrived with a large group of officers and immediately set up a 2-kilometer cordon. The rubberneckers who were originally hanging around 100 meters away were also evacuated to the other side of the mountain. Several experts in heavy bomb suits, carrying toolboxes, moved clumsily like penguins, but quickly towards this side. Wang Jiangwo stood 100 meters away with a megaphone, saying, "Listen to the experts. Don't move." I wanted to nod, but my neck was as stiff as if it had been filled with cement. I just blinked a couple of times. I don't know if Captain Wang could see me. The leading bomb disposal expert was an old guy. After scanning around with his equipment, his face turned grim. He said through the walkie-talkie, "This is a United States-made M66. Used to blow up warships, this thing's got a hell of a payload. Never mind this car. Could level half this hillside," he said, glancing at the fuse ring choked by the nylon rope. He wiped his sweat, then continued, "This kid's damn lucky. The fuse is already rusted. It's in a delicate state of balance right now. Thank God he didn't run with it. Otherwise, the firing pin might have gone off." Listening to the old expert's report, I was completely stunned. "But can you disarm it?" The old expert glared at me. "Don't talk. Even sound waves could cause it to vibrate." The words I wanted to use to call for help instantly caught in my throat. It's not just that the old guy talked for so long, I couldn't even say a word. The next half hour was the longest half hour, even longer than waiting 10 minutes. 2 bomb disposal experts carefully used liquid nitrogen spray to freeze the fuse area, and then used extremely fine tools to cut the nylon rope and my fishhook wrapped around it little by little. The old expert operated, and still complaining. "Old man, I've been dismantling things my whole life. I've dismantled things on construction sites. I've dismantled things in the subway. The hell, someone got fished up with a hook. Humph, it's the first time I've heard that kind of joke." I was about to cry. "Hey, can you focus, man?" The next second, there was a light snap. The taut nylon rope finally broke. Another expert quickly clipped a lock onto the fuse. Then he let out a long breath and slumped to the ground. Phew, temporarily safe. I felt like all the strength had been drained from my body. I slumped to the ground, gasping for air. The old expert came over and patted me on the shoulder. "Kid, you almost lost your life today." Just then, Wang Jiangwo rushed over, pointing at me. He was so angry his fingers were trembling. "You kid, are you trying to send me to an early grave? Every single day, you have to make a fuss." "I'm wronged, Captain Huang. I just wanted to snag some silver dollars." As I said that, something suddenly occurred to me. I turned to look at the big bomb already surrounded by special police. To be precise, I looked at the iron chain wrapped around it. Then I said weakly, "Hey, Captain Wang, do I get credit for the silver on that thing?" The air froze for a second. Wang Jiangwo just started laughing out of exasperation. "You almost died, and you're still thinking about those few silver coins? It's a shame you're not an undercover agent." With that money-hungry attitude, after saying that, he bent down and picked up the piece of iron chain. He hefted the dark metal pieces on it. "These are artifacts. They have to be confiscated." I let out a wail. "So all my hard work was for nothing?" Wang Jiangwo handed the iron chain to the political affairs section next to him. He patted me on the shoulder. He comforted me. "All right, stop howling. Even though the silver is gone, you've done a great service this time. This bomb was in a very hidden location, and the fuse was extremely unstable. If you hadn't fished it up, if there's a flood one day, and it washes downstream, and hits the bridge or hydroelectric station, the consequences would be unimaginable." For the bomb disposal clue reward, plus the Cultural Relic Protection Contribution Award, the department communicated with the Cultural Relics Bureau, and decided to apply for an 80,000 reward for you. Wang Jiangwo held up 8 fingers. After hearing Wang Jiangwo's words, my originally dim eyes lit up like searchlights. I felt my back wasn't sore anymore. My legs didn't hurt anymore. I even wanted to go touch that bomb, take a photo with it. Wang Jiangwo looked at my reaction and shook his head with a helpless smile. "Shenemo, what do you want to fish up next time? You better give me a heads up, okay? If this keeps up, my heart can't take it." I nod my head emphatically and pat my chest, guaranteeing solemnly, "Detective Wang, you believe me? Next time I'll definitely just fish."